Welcome to this short demonstration of Active Directory user management alongside Google Apps, Office 365 and password management. First of all, let's consider that a user is already created. In this case, we'll use Maggie for the example. Maggie has been added into an Active Directory group called Google Users. She could also have been added to a group for Office 365 or Salesforce.com, and all around that you would have license management as well. So once Maggie is in that group, she will have a Google Apps account provisioned for her. She can log into that via this NetIQ portal. What the portal gives you is access to any resources that you've been granted access to. So in this case, you can see that there's 3 different Google resources. There's an IT accounts function as well, but you may also find lots and lots of other business applications or web shortcuts that are useful for a user. If Maggie clicks on Google Mail, she gets her mail delivered to her. So very straightforward for her to use. We can then see, for example, that Maggie's password, because she's using her Active Directory credentials to log in to her Google Mail account as well, she can also use the same functionality to manage her password. So when Maggie first logs in, she's able to generate a number of challenge response questions to allow her to manage her password any way she chooses to in the future. So if we take a look at that, we'll be able to see whether she's enrolled or not, and we can see that because we've enrolled, we could perform any number of options here. Let's check whether the user has already set up their questions, and we can see that in this case these 4 questions have been answered, so that in the future Maggie would be able to manage her account. So if we log out, we can see that if she did forget her password, she could click the forgotten password link, and by entering her email address to find her in the directory, we'd be given 2 options depending upon the configuration we have in place. Either Maggie could answer those challenge response questions and then be given the ability to change her password, or as we can see coming up here, Maggie would be sent either via email or probably via SMS to her corporate mobile phone. She would receive a code. Once she adds that in here, she would be able to change her password. So either way, whether Maggie's forgotten her password or just wants to manage that password, she's able to do that through a web console. Consider though the example where perhaps Maggie may have left the organization and Maggie's boss needs to have a way to secure that user's account, both from an Active Directory logon perspective, but also from the perspective of the self-service password reset world, so that Maggie can't then go and change her password. So bear in mind that because the Active Directory password is the same one that's used for Google Mail and any other resources that you see in the portal here, it's important from a security perspective that password is managed. So consider now that we are Maggie's manager. Now this piece here is purely from a proof of concept scenario. So what you would have in production is a web form which would allow you to access a shortcut to this reset user account. And what we can see is all it's going to ask for here is a number of pieces of information from me as Maggie's manager. So this is the information that is required. And we can see whose account do I want to reset. Well, in this case, it's Maggie's. And who am I? And what do I want to do? So I've said there who I am. I've in fact authenticated to say that I am that person, and I've said whose account I want to manage. In production, we would see that based upon my user identity and credentials, it would then give a list of who were my direct reports, so I would then only be able to manage them. Once I hit OK, the process is kicked off. And we can see that process here. So the process goes through a number of steps, but the end result is that Maggie's password has been reset to a random value. In this case, we can see it here. However, the key thing is that Maggie can no longer log on to her Active Directory account. She can also no longer log on to those Google Apps resources or anything else that we saw in the console there. So very straightforward. Also, the challenge response questions have been reset, so Maggie cannot access the self-service password reset functionality either. So Maggie no longer has access. However, this password has been emailed or delivered, however you like, to the manager who has just reset that password, so another user can come in and use that account, perhaps a seasonal user, perhaps a hotel manager, where the accounts change regularly and you want to take the workload away from the help desk. However, the same account should be secured but also reusable. I hope this has been straightforward. For any more information, please contact NetIQ. Thank you.